Hey guys, how's it going? I made a tutorial video a little while ago about some D&D books that is getting a lot of interest, and they look pretty gnarly. I'll put a card up in the description, and a link in the description, a card in the corner, excuse me. These boxes I thought were pretty cool. They're good for D&D, they're good for Warhammer 40K, whatever you guys want to do with them. I made one for my wife, which is shown here, and it was just kind of a cool project, something simple, something cool looking to kind of change up how you hold on to dice, how you hold on to markers, whatever you want to do. So first thing you want to do is print out the symbols you want to use. These are orc symbols from 40K, and cut them out on some construction paper. Regular construction paper will work fine. I use craft paper for this, but you don't want it to be shiny or textured. It will when you do the dry brushing, it'll bring that texture out unless you find something pretty cool. I didn't. I just thought this was pretty badass. So what I'm doing here is I'm using a glue stick to glue on the symbols onto a box that I got from Michael's. It's basically just a craft box. I took the hardware off for the clasp. You want to center it as best you can, or however you want to put it down. It's completely up to you. It does not matter. Just that you get it enough glue on it to stick it down for now, because later on you're gonna Mod Podge it. And glue stick seems to stick it down, but not so permanently that you can't get it back up if you need to move it. Okay. I am covering the seam here for the lid. We're gonna fix this later with a razor knife. Not that big of a deal. Again, pretty simple, pretty easy. Okay, so now that everything's glued on, I glued all the sigils on, I glued on a border. Cut out a couple pieces here. I'm gonna cut that seam where the lid meets the base. So all I'm doing is following it with a razor knife at this point. Go slow, take your time, use a nice sharp razor knife. You should be able to just fit it right in the seam and cut along the line. As soon as you get it in the seam, it should cut for you pretty much. Okay, so now everything's all set. We're gonna just basically black bomb it. Cheap craft paint's best way to go. You can get it at any craft store. I use whatever's handy, no specific brand. And just black out the whole thing as best you can. You can do 2 coats if you want to, 1 thick coat. It really doesn't matter. So after it's blacked out, I wanted to do some dry brushing on it. And that's really where the rubber meets the road, where you get a nice look of this thing, and it makes all the detail pop out, and it makes it look really kind of worn out. Now I used a dark green, but you couldn't see it. And I was gonna do 2, and I couldn't see it at all. Even in person, I was like, this isn't working. So what I did was I switched to a lighter lime green, and I'm not even sure what I'm using here, but the colors really don't matter. Pick what you like and just go. This is a really kind of simple thing. So I'm working to paint off on the brush. You've seen guys doing dry brushing a million times. It's simple, easy, get as much off the brush as you possibly can, and then test it on something other than the box. I've done that a few times, as I did here, and it comes out and kind of screws it up. You get more paint on it than you want. But the more liberal you can go, the better. So a nice heavy dry brush to bring out all that detail, and you'll see it come out right here. Okay, so now it's completely dry brushed. You can see that it's kind of like hazy looking. It doesn't look as defined as it should. You can leave it right here and it looks kind of cool if you like that really textured, really old look. Looks very cool. But what I like to do, and what I did, was I painted all the wood black again, and it really made the designs pop out really well. And just take your time, go slow. You know, a nice coat of black on the wood itself, excuse me, and it comes out pretty good. Okay, so now it's all blacked out. The construction paper gave it a little bit more of a texture, which is pretty cool. So it makes it look kind of nasty and gross and ratty, which I really like. The swelling of the box a little bit will make the top kind of pop up, but when the clasp goes back on, it's not that big of a deal. So what we're gonna end up doing is putting a coat of Mod Podge, some matte Mod Podge on there. And I like to do 2 coats. It's a nice sealer, it gives it a nice finish, and it protects it pretty well. So I would think that's a good way to go. I've used varnishes and stuff before, but I'm not very good with them. So the Mod Podge really is very forgiving for people who aren't great at finishing wood or painted surfaces. So it's amazing stuff. Okay, so these are my D&D 40K dice boxes, storage boxes for tokens, anything you want to do. The sky's the limit when it comes to ideas. All you need is a printer and a razor knife and a box, and you're off and running. So if you like this video, subscribe, check out my other videos, and we'll talk to you soon. Thank you very much. We'll see you next time.